going to go over exercise number 2 out of lesson 2. Okay? This is about labeling translated images. What different images do I have under exercise 2? I have a what, a what, a what? There's 3 things I have. What and what?
Angles and segments.
Okay, here I have an angles. And I have 2 line segments.
Oh, there's a vector too.
And I also have a vector. Okay? The vector is going to tell us what about our images and our translations. What information does the vector all give us?
Where's the starting point?
It does give us where is our starting point. It tells us which one is the original, which one is the image. Even if there were no labels up here, out of these 2 line segments, which one has to be the original according to the vector?
The bottom one.
The bottom one is the original?
No.
The top one is the original and the bottom one is the image because according to our vector, the arrow has a downward motion. Okay? That's one piece of information that the vector gives us. The vector gives us the direction, so it's a slight downward angle. The other thing that the vector tells us that I missed in my previous classes, so if you're not in 9th hour and you're watching the video, this is important. You can take a ruler and say from the beginning point to the end point is 10.5 centimeters, which means if I were to take my original and my image over here, what has to be true about the distance between my original and my image?
It's 10.5 centimeters.
It's 10.5 centimeters. So your vector's beginning and end point tells you the distance between your beginning and end point of your original and your image. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. So the main idea under exercise number 2 is to put in any missing measurements and labels in the picture. So we look for empty points. Here I have an empty point. It will be labeled what?
A.
No, not A. F.
F.
This is labeled F because its corresponding point is right here, and this is labeled what?
F prime.
F prime. Very good. Notice this one not only has the F, it also has the dash mark, F prime. This is the image, which is why it has the prime mark. So this one has to be the original, which gives you the F without the prime mark. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
The copies aren't great, but hopefully you can see it. This is a letter G prime, by the way. A lot of students think it's a C, but it's a G prime. Therefore, this must be
G.
G. Is there any labels missing on your line segment? Say no.
No.
Nope, everything's labeled. Okay? Let's go to the angle. Anything missing here that needs a label?
No.
Nope, everything is labeled. It's a pretty little sucker. Okay, what about here? Anything missing?
D.
Yeah. This needs to be labeled
D.
D, and we know this has a label of D because
Alphabet.
Bottom one has
the image,
prime.
D prime. We also know it because this is an E, right? Without it having a prime mark, it means it has to be part of the original because this one is part of the original. Okay? Oh, we have a lot of things missing here. What's happening here?
Need A.
A prime.
A prime, very good. This is the image.
B prime.
B prime is this point down here.
C prime.
C prime is this point, and
Your degrees.
okay, according to my picture, yours I believe is 33 degrees on the worksheet, but the worksheet I have on my computer is 31 degrees. Is there any way that this angle can be different from this angle? No, because a translation has congruent shapes and figures, meaning it holds the same measurements. Okay? Come down here, what labels are missing?
E prime.
Okay, I need E prime over here, and 5 centimeters. Very good. With the original being 5 centimeters, its image must be
5 centimeters.
5 centimeters. Okay? So, on your worksheet that you are going to get today, you're going to do the entire thing It is a lot of you creating images, and on the second page you have to create the original and the image according to vectors. It takes time. It is work, okay? You have to draw according to how it tells you to draw. If I give you an original figure and asked you to draw an image off of this image, what would you have to do?
Go down 10 and
Okay, you'd have to take out your ruler. You would have to go down 10.5 centimeters from this point according to the vector and create a new point B. Then you would have to go over to point A. Sorry, that's from previous classes. Go down 10.5 centimeters and label an A double prime. Then when you have 2 points, you can put in a line connecting them. Then you go to, you go to C. Come down 10.5 centimeters. Now I have C double prime. You can put in that line. And then I can label 31 degrees. Okay? This is an image of the original, but I had to take each point of the figure in order to translate it down according to the vector. Are there any questions on translations, how they work? It's kind of like a connect to the dot kind of game. Go ahead and shut it off.